Hey, welcome to Digging into the Bible. My name is Jim Barnard. This is a production of Tiller Coaching. All right, it is day 29, and yesterday we saw this man Cornelius, this centurion, this member of the Italian cohort, how he did not quite seem to fit with the people of the way, the people of the first church, but at the same time, he absolutely belongs. He is a God-fearing man. He is a disciple. He is a son of God, and he had this amazing interaction with an angel of the Lord who told him to send some of his men down to find Peter and to bring him back to Cornelius. And that's a good backdrop. Let's go ahead and dig in. This is Acts chapter 10, starting at verse 9. The next day, as they were on their journey and approaching the city, Peter went up to the housetop about the 6th hour to pray, and he became hungry and wanted something to eat. But while they were preparing it, he fell into a trance and saw the heavens opened up, and something like a great sheet descending, being let down by its four corners upon the earth. In it were all kinds of animals and reptiles and birds of the air. And there came a voice to him, "Rise, Peter, kill and eat." But Peter said, "By no means, Lord, for I have never eaten anything that is common or unclean." And the voice came to him again a second time, "What God has made clean, do not call common." This happened 3 times, and the thing was taken up at once to heaven. Now while Peter was inwardly perplexed as to what the vision that he had seen might mean, behold, the men who were sent by Cornelius, having made inquiry for Simon's house, stood at the gate and called out to ask whether Simon, who was called Peter, was lodging there. And while Peter was pondering the vision, the Spirit said to him, "Behold, 3 men are looking for you. Rise and go down and accompany them without hesitation, for I have sent them." And Peter went down to the men and said, "I'm the one you are looking for. What is the reason for your coming?" And they said, "Cornelius, a centurion, an upright and God-fearing man, who is well spoken of by the whole Jewish nation, was directed by a holy angel to send for you to come to his house and to hear what you have to say." So he invited them in to be his guests. All right, so Peter was perplexed. Gosh, I love that word. If you think back to day 3 of our study, this was Acts chapter 2, the day of Pentecost. Blazow! It was a day where the Holy Spirit was given as a gift to the disciples, to the believers, and suddenly everything was changing. It was, the people of the crowd could hear and understand what they were saying in their own native language, and it was just very perplexing. It made no sense. And I'll say that this is probably the weirdest thing that the Holy Spirit has done, this vision, this sheet coming down with these unclean animals. This is very perplexing, and it's the weirdest thing that's happened since the day of perplexion, which is coming up soon. If you're watching real time, it is a little over a month away, May 23rd, 2021. We will celebrate then. But yeah, this makes no sense. It's very perplexing to Peter for good reason. For so long, the Jewish people, God's people, have been living by all these rules. And a lot of those rules have to do with like what you can eat and what you can't eat. And now suddenly, like the things that were off limits, like, God, you're just changing the rules? Well, yeah, God can do that. Like he gets to be in charge, so he's changing the rules. These animals that were off limits, it seems to me like part of what was happening there with those rules was in accordance to sacrifice rules. So, in order for God's people to be able to come before God, they had to make an animal sacrifice, and they had to do it in the right way, in the right order, and present it properly. And, there was just certain rules about all of this. And that rule has been changed. That rule no longer exists because of Jesus. Matthew 5 says, "I have not come to abolish the law, but I've come to fulfill it." And he did that on the cross. Like, we're not sacrificing animals anymore and getting the entrails and whatnot right. Like, that's a thing of the past. And same thing with the clean eating rules. Like, for men like Cornelius, who's never followed that rule, like, he doesn't have to. Like, it's not a thing where it's required anymore, and it's so good and it's so right because, Jesus fulfilled it all. He did it. And so, Peter, as he's like wrestling with this and having these men come, it is so fitting that God is giving this clear language of, do not call this common. Verse 15, to get it exactly right. What God has made clean, do not call common, because it's not common. I don't use that word common around things or people very much. When I hear people say that, I think of like royalty. Oh, the commoners. Like, there's nothing common about what God is instituting as clean and the rules that he's instituting and or changing. And so I'm so thankful for that, because God is opening this up for people of all types, of all backgrounds. And so this is really great. This is really exciting. And so tomorrow we will see what happens with Peter as he goes and meets Cornelius, and hopefully he's got something good to say. I'm sure Peter's like, what? Like, you want to hear what I have to say? Like, all right, let's do this. All right. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you tomorrow as we continue on with this story. I'll see you then.